never thought those words would come from his mouth. Not from Noah. Not from the boy I raised with these 2 hands since he was 3 years old. You're not my real mom, Catherine. Stop acting like you own me. Not from the little boy who used to crawl into my bed during thunderstorms, wrapping his small fingers around mine and whispering, "Grandma, promise you'll never leave me." And I promised. God, how I promised. I raised him when his mother, my daughter Sarah, went to prison for embezzlement. I gave him everything, 22 years of everything. And on his 25th birthday, in the house I bought for us in Portland, Oregon, he looked at me with those cold eyes and said I wasn't his real mother. But before we go any further, if you've ever poured your entire life into someone only to have them throw it back in your face, if you've ever sacrificed everything and been told it wasn't enough, please stay with me. Subscribe and let me know in the comments where you're watching from. Your support means the world to me because telling this story still makes my hands shake. My name is Catherine Williams. I'm 55 years old, and I'm going to tell you about the day my heart shattered into so many pieces, I wasn't sure I'd ever be whole again. It was March 15th, 2023, a Tuesday, Noah's 25th birthday. I'd taken the day off from my job as a registered nurse at Providence Portland Medical Center, a job I'd held for 31 years. I woke up at 5:30 a.m. and started baking his favorite German chocolate cake. The recipe my mother taught me, written on a yellowed index card in her looping handwriting. I could still see 3-year-old Noah sitting on that same counter 22 years ago, his feet dangling, chocolate smeared across his cheeks, asking, "Gamma, can I lick the spoon?" The house smelled like chocolate and coconut. Portland spring mornings are soft and smell like rain and fresh-cut grass. I was wearing my grandmother's locket, the one with 3 generations of photos inside. My grandmother, my mother, me. 3 women who survived everything. I remember thinking, he's going to love this party. God, I was so stupid. Noah had moved out 6 months earlier to an apartment in the Pearl District for $20,400 a month, an apartment I was still paying for because his job as a content creator wasn't bringing in steady income. I was covering his rent, car insurance, phone bill, $4,200 every month. But he was my boy. The child I'd raised since Sarah went to prison in 2001, sentenced to 8 years for embezzling $340,000. Sarah went to prison. Noah was 3. I was 33. I sold my house in Beaverton for $185,000 and bought a bigger one in Southeast Portland for $310,000. I took out a $125,000 mortgage at 5.2% interest. I worked double shifts. I gave up dating, traveling, living. I became Noah's mother. And I loved it. Every scraped knee, every parent-teacher conference, every baseball game. Even when Sarah got out in 2009 and wanted him back. Even when we fought in court and I spent $42,000 on lawyers to keep him. Even when 13-year-old Noah looked at me and said, "I want to stay with you, Grandma. You're my real mom." Those words were everything, until they weren't. The party was supposed to start at 6 p.m. I'd invited 15 people. I'd spent $850 on food and decorations. The German chocolate cake sat on the counter with 25 candles. I'd bought him a gift, a Sony A7 IV camera that cost $2,500 for his content creation. Noah arrived at 5:45 p.m. alone. He walked in, barely looked at anything, on his phone, scrolling. "Noah, honey, your friends are coming at 6, I said. He looked up. His face was cold. I canceled. I stood there holding a serving spoon. "You? Canceled. But I planned. I'm going out with Vanessa tonight. I just came to get my gift." Vanessa. His girlfriend of 3 months, who'd never once thanked me for anything. "But honey, I made your favorite cake. Everyone's coming." "Catherine, I'm 25. I don't need a kid's birthday party." "Catherine, not Grandma. Catherine." My throat closed up. "I just wanted to celebrate with you." He sighed. That heavy, annoyed sigh, like I was a burden. "Where's my gift? I pointed to the box. He opened it, didn't smile, just nodded. Cool, thanks. Then looked at his phone. I gotta go, Vanessa's waiting. Something inside me cracked. Noah, can we talk? Just for a minute? He looked at me like I'd asked him to cut off his arm. About what? About us. About the money I'm still sending every month. Oh my God, here we go. You're gonna guilt-trip me again about everything you've done for me. I'm not guilt-tripping you, You know what, Catherine? I'm tired of this. I'm tired of you acting like you own me just because you raised me. You're not my real mom. Sarah is my mom. You were just temporary. Temporary. That word hit me like a physical blow. I stumbled backward, my hip hitting the counter. Temporary? Yeah. And honestly, I'm grateful you helped out when I was a kid, but I don't owe you my entire life. You chose to raise me. I didn't ask for that. And now you keep throwing it in my face like I should worship you or something. I chose to raise you. I didn't ask for that. I looked at his face and saw a stranger, a cold, entitled stranger who'd forgotten every sacrifice. Noah, I said, my voice shaking. Do you remember when you were 7 and had pneumonia? I sat by your bed for 4 days straight. I held your hand and sang to you. So, that's what parents do. Do you remember when you were 16 and wrecked my car? I paid $8,700 for repairs and didn't tell insurance to protect your record. I worked extra shifts for 6 months. I was a kid. Kids make mistakes. Do you remember when I paid $23,000 a year for Oregon State? $92,000 total even though you dropped out after 2 years. Not everyone's meant for college, Catherine. Catherine, Catherine, Catherine. I felt something wet on my cheeks. I was crying. Standing there in my kitchen, surrounded by decorations for a party nobody was coming to, crying in front of my grandson who couldn't care less. I gave you everything, I whispered. Everything I had. I worked until my back hurt and my feet swelled. I did all of that for you, Noah, because I love you. He looked uncomfortable, shifting his weight. Look, I appreciate what you did, okay? But you can't keep holding it over my head. I need space. I need to live my own life. You need to stop acting like I'm still a kid. I'm an adult. I can handle my own life. Then handle it, I said, and my voice came out stronger than I expected. Handle your own rent, your own insurance, your own life. His eyes narrowed. What does that mean? It means I'm done, Noah. If you're an adult who doesn't need me, then you don't need my money either. Are you serious? You're gonna cut me off on my birthday because I hurt your feelings. You didn't hurt my feelings. You broke my heart. There's a difference. He stared at me. Then he picked up the camera box and headed for the door. Fine. I don't need your money anyway. Vanessa's parents have money. Real money. Not just nurse salary money. Real money. Not just nurse salary money. The money I'd earned working overnight shifts while he slept safely in the house I'd bought. He left. I listened to his car drive away. A 2019 Honda Civic I'd co-signed for. $24,000. He'd missed the last 3 payments. I'd been covering them. $340 a month. I sat on my kitchen floor and cried. The ugly kind of crying where you can't breathe and your chest hurts. At 11 p.m., after my friends from the hospital came and left, I sat at my kitchen table and did something I'd never done. I added up every penny I'd spent on Noah in 22 years. The house, $310,000 legal fees, $42,000 college, $92,000 car cosign, $24,000 monthly support, $25,200 everything else, $180,000 total, $670 tweezers $200, $673,200, and he'd called it temporary. I pulled out my phone and canceled all automatic transfers to Noah. All of them. His rent, his insurance, his phone, his car payment, everything. Then I texted him, "You said you don't need my money. I'm respecting your wishes. All financial support ends today. You're on your own now, just like you wanted. Love, Catherine." I sent it. Then I turned off my phone and sat in the dark until dawn. For 3 months, I heard nothing from Noah. Nothing. But I started hearing things through friends. His content creation wasn't paying bills. Vanessa's parents helped for 1 month, then stopped. He couldn't make rent. He moved to a studio in Gresham for $950s. Then he couldn't make that either. His car got repossessed. He started working at Starbucks. And still, he didn't call. I started seeing a therapist, Dr. Patricia Chen, $150 per session. She asked me what I wanted. I want him to apologize, I said. And if he doesn't? I didn't have an answer. Dr. Chen told me to write a letter to Noah. Not to send it, just to write it. So I did. 23 pages of love and pain and anger and grief. Then I burned it, lit it on fire in my kitchen sink and watched it turn to ash. Because I couldn't make Noah understand. I could only choose what to do with the space he'd left behind. I took a medical leave of absence from Providence. 3 months. I'd worked there for 31 years and never taken more than 2 weeks off. On July 1st, 2023, I flew to Italy, by myself. Something I dreamed about since I was 25, but had never done because I was busy raising Noah. I cried in the taxi in Rome because I was 55 years old and finally doing something just for me. I spent 6 weeks traveling. Rome, Florence, Venice, the Amalfi Coast. I ate pasta and drank wine and walked until my feet hurt. In Positano, I met a woman named Margaret from Boston who told me, "They'll take everything you give them and then ask why it's not enough. You have to stop giving more than they deserve." Stop giving more than they deserve. I'd given Noah everything he deserved and more, until I was invisible, until I was temporary. I flew home on August 10th. Something in me had changed. I wasn't angry anymore. I was just done. Done waiting for Noah to see me. Done sacrificing myself for people who didn't value it. 2 weeks after I got home, my phone rang at 11 p.m. Unknown number. "Grandma?" Noah's voice, small, scared. "It's Catherine," I said. "Grandma, please. I need help. I got evicted. I'm staying on my friend's couch, but he wants me gone. I lost my job. Vanessa left me. I'm so sorry. Please. Can I come home?" Come home. Those 2 words would have broken me 5 months earlier. But I'd burned 23 pages of letters. I'd walked through Rome. I'd met Margaret. "Noah," I said quietly, "do you remember what you said to me on your birthday?" Silence. "I was angry. I didn't mean it. You said I was temporary. You said you didn't ask me to raise you. You said I wasn't your real mom. Grandma, I was so stupid. I was wrong. You are my real mom, please. I have nowhere else to go." I closed my eyes. "No." "What?" "No, Noah, you can't come home. This isn't your home anymore. This is my home. The home I bought. The home you said you didn't need. But I'm your grandson. And you're 25 years old, an adult, remember? You told me you could handle your own life. So handle it." "I made a mistake. What do you want me to do?" "I want you to understand what you did. I want you to realize that love isn't infinite, that you can't treat people like they're disposable and expect them to keep catching you when you fall. So you're just going to let me be homeless? You're not homeless. You have Sarah, your real mom, the one you said you wanted. Call her." Long silence. "She won't help me. She said she's done cleaning up my messes. Interesting how that feels, isn't it?" "Please, Grandma." "Noah, I don't want your money. I want you to grow up. I want you to understand that I'm not temporary, that the 22 years I gave you weren't temporary, but my patience is done. You used me and threw me away when you thought you didn't need me. Now you're learning what life is like without me. I love you," he whispered. "I love you too. But love doesn't mean I have to rescue you. Figure it out, Noah." And I hung up. I cried. Not because I regretted it, but because it hurt. Because even though he'd broken my heart, he was still my boy. Over the next year, I let go. I threw myself into work at Providence, got promoted to nurse manager, salary increased to $98,000. I traveled more, joined a book club, started painting, adopted a rescue dog named Luna, renovated my kitchen, planted a garden. I dated a retired teacher named Robert. It didn't work out, but it felt good to try. On March 15th, 2025, what would have been Noah's 27th birthday, I received a package. Inside was a letter, 14 pages in Noah's handwriting. Real apology. He detailed every cruel thing he'd said, every moment he'd taken me for granted. He told me he'd been in therapy for 8 months. He wrote, "You gave me everything. Safety when I was terrified. Love when I was broken. A childhood when mine was stolen. 22 years of your life. And I spit on all of it because I was selfish and cruel. I'm not asking you to forgive me. I'm just asking you to know that I understand now. I understand what I had. I understand what I lost." At the end were 2 checks, $5,000 and $3,200. "This is the start," he wrote. "I'm working 2 jobs, warehouse and grocery store, making $3,400 a month. After expenses, I can send you $400 monthly. It'll take me 140 years to pay back the $632,200, but I'm going to try. Every month, for the rest of my life, because you deserve better." I sat on my couch, reading that letter over and over, with Luna's head in my lap, tears streaming down my face. I didn't cash the checks, but I called Noah. He picked up on the first ring. "Grandma?" "Hi, Noah," the sound of him crying. "I'm so sorry. I know. I read your letter. We talked for an hour. I told him about Italy, about Luna, about the life I'd built without him. He told me about therapy, about hitting rock bottom, about trying to become someone worthy of the grandmother who'd raised him. At the end I said, "Noah, I'm not cashing those checks. But I want to pay you back." "You can't. Not in money. What you owe me can't be paid in dollars. But if you really want to make amends, become someone I'd be proud of. Not for me, for you. Build a life that matters. Be kind. Don't take anyone for granted. That's how you pay me back." "I will, I promise. And Noah, I forgive you, not because you earned it, but because carrying anger is exhausting. I forgive you, but forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean things go back to how they were. I know. Thank you. We talk now, once a month, brief calls. There's distance, a distance that will probably never close. He's my grandson, and I love him. But he's not my son anymore. That complete trust is broken, and I'm okay with that. I learned that you can love someone with every fiber of your being and still walk away when they turn that love into a weapon. I learned that sacrifice doesn't guarantee gratitude. I learned that sometimes the kindest thing you can do is let them fall, let them struggle, let them learn. I learned that I'm not temporary, that my love, my time, my sacrifice wasn't temporary. And I learned that it's never too late to start living for yourself, to stop being invisible, to stop giving more than people deserve. I'm 55 years old. I have gray hair I don't apologize for, a house that's truly mine, a career that fulfills me, a dog who loves me unconditionally, friends who value me, stamps in my passport, a life that belongs to me. I still wear my grandmother's locket every day. 3 generations of strong women who survived, who rebuilt, who refused to let anyone make them temporary. If my story touched your heart in any way, I want to know where you're watching from. Write in the comments your city, your state, or even your country. Let me know this message reached you. And if you know a mother, a grandmother, a parent who's giving everything and getting nothing back, share this video with them. They need to know they're not alone. They need to know it's okay to say no. Leave a like if you believe love should be reciprocated, not exploited. And subscribe to the channel for more real stories of heartbreak, healing, and finding yourself again. Because our lives don't end when our children disappoint us. We just learn to bloom anyway. And remember, you are never ever too old to stop being temporary. You are never too old to matter.